After Xerxes had escaped from Europe, the Greeks celebrated, of course. They were happy that they had basically won the war, even though there was a small army that was left behind by Xerxes under Mardonius, and they still had to deal with that. But they saw it like, regardless of that, they had won the war, or they were in a very good shape, that maybe they would ultimately win the war. So they celebrated. And then there was this question of uh, awarding the generals, finding one general who did the most, and maybe giving them some merit, some recognition. And the generals met and decided the way they are going to do it is to vote amongst them, to vote. Like, and the first vote, everybody was allowed to vote for themselves. But the second vote, they had to vote for someone else. So they vote the first round, and everybody has one vote, their own. They vote the second round, and because now everybody is forced to vote for somebody else, Themistocles from Athens wins. But there are people who were very jealous. They didn't want to give him that award. They didn't want to recognize him as the person who made the war go the way it went for the Greeks. And in fact, they left that meeting without giving out that award. And then everybody goes back to their home. I think that's what happened. And then Themistocles decides to go to Sparta. He goes to Sparta, and the Spartans have no problem. They are not jealous of him. They recognize his input, and in fact, they recognize him and they give him a reward. Alongside Eurybiades, who was a Spartan himself. So Eurybiades and Themistocles are awarded by the Spartans, the generals who did the most during the war with Xerxes. And when Themistocles comes back home, there was even another guy, an Athenian, who said to a meeting, like, this guy he doesn't deserve that award, because we won because all of us were, which is true, but he wasn't driven by what drove him to say that was basically jealous and his dislike for Themistocles. So, and this is just another example of how dysfunctional the Greeks were. Even as they were winning, like they were not people so much organized. They were fighting even when they were fighting the Persians.